Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show that cuts through the noise and gets straight to the essential insights from your most important sources. Today, we're continuing our series, The Other Side of the Table, a deep dive into the investor's playbook, where we pull back the curtain on the world of venture capital.
Yeah, in our last deep dive, we started looking at the motivations, the financial drivers for VCs. But the thing is, while money is obviously key, venture capitalists bring, well, a lot more to the table than just a check.
Absolutely. And that's really our mission for this deep dive, to unpack that whole multifaceted value proposition, what VCs really bring beyond just the funding. We want to explore their roles in, say, strategic direction, mentorship, industry credibility.
Crucial networking opportunities, too,
Yeah,
and even operational support.
exactly.
And we'll get into how having a VC on the board, maybe with a seat or even multiple seats, lets them directly influence strategy. Plus, how that experience helps startups avoid pitfalls, leverage market intelligence, things like that. Okay, let's dive in.
So, for a lot of entrepreneurs, getting that VC funding, it feels like the finish line, doesn't it? The big win.
It often does, yeah. But for the VCs, it's really just kicking things off. It's the starting gun for a much deeper level of engagement.
Right. They're not just passive funders then waiting for reports,
Not at all. They become active guides. They get involved in shaping the company's direction.
which is fascinating because VCs, as professional investors, they're looking beyond just a cool idea, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. No ideas pivot. There's that famous quote from legendary investor Arthur Rock. He said, "I invest in people, not ideas."
Right. The idea being if the people are good.
Exactly. He believed if you find good people, if they're wrong about the product, they'll make a switch. And that really highlights this core VC belief in guiding the team, even if the initial plan, isn't quite right or it needs a total rethink.
So it's much more about backing the jockey and not just the horse, like the saying goes. It sounds like they almost expect that first business plan, no matter how amazing it looks on paper, to, well, run into problems.
Exactly. I mean, that connects to this fundamental truth, right? Almost every entrepreneur starts with a plan A they think is bulletproof. But experienced VCs, they know that plan rarely survives its first brush with reality, with the actual market.
Like that military saying, no plan survives first contact with the enemy.
Precisely.
Huh.
VCs anticipate this.
Mm-hmm.
They're actively looking for founders who aren't just aware of this, but are actually capable of figuring out and executing a plan B, or C, or D.
Okay, so here's where it gets really practical for founders, right? This plan B mindset. VCs get that real success, particularly in new or fast-changing industries, often involves many detours and unanticipated setbacks.
Yes, and they actively help navigate that uncertainty, sticking rigidly to a flawed plan. That's a classic startup killer.
So how do they help concretely? I mean, how do they help with adapting?
Well, it's about helping the startup identify and really test those key assumptions, those leaps of faith about their business model, rather than just, blindly following the original plan. They push for quick iteration, getting real data, being ready to pivot.
And that reduces the risk of, what's it called, premature scaling.
Exactly, premature scaling. The Startup Genome Project found that was a huge reason why consumer internet startups failed. Because you just burn through cash way too fast. It shortens your runway, the time you have before the money runs out. VCs help make sure you don't scale before you've really found product market fit.
Okay, so beyond just adapting, VCs often seem to push for really ambitious growth, like really ambitious. We've heard about that triple, double, double model
Right, triple revenue 3 times and double it twice.
to take, what, a $3 million business to over $100 million in 5 years. That's aggressive.
It's incredibly aggressive. And connecting that back, it means VCs aren't just looking for small wins. They are deeply involved in those big strategic choices. They might, frankly, pressure a CEO to scale faster, maybe even beyond the founder's initial comfort zone. Why? Because they're aiming for that big exit, an IPO, a major acquisition.
They need that home run potential for their fund economics.
That's the model. That drive for exponential returns, swinging for the fences, it really shapes how they engage and the advice they give.
And that direct influence, the ability to guide or even push,
Yeah.
that comes from the board seat, right?
Yes, absolutely. Taking a board seat, or sometimes multiple seats, gives them direct formal influence. It allows them to give real-time advice, help avoid common mistakes, leverage market intelligence they see across their portfolio.
So they're looking at the core business model.
Constantly, they'll dig into the critical success factors for profitability, figure out the investment needed to reach positive cash flow. Their goal is always to find the levers, the things that have the biggest impact on cash flows, what moves the needle most.
So it ensures the company isn't just viable, but has a path to significant scale. That makes sense for their investment.
Exactly. It aligns everyone towards that big outcome.
Okay, so moving beyond strategy. It sounds like VCs aren't just high-level thinkers in the boardroom. They actually get into the operational weeds sometimes, offer hands-on help.
Absolutely. That's a common misconception that they just show up for meetings. The reality is many of the smartest founders actively look for investors known to roll up their sleeves.
Roll up their sleeves, meaning
Meaning they open doors, make introductions, really help concretely with things like raising the next round of funding. It's much more than just advice. It's active, tangible support. Super valuable, especially early on.
so kind of like a high-powered tutor or a very involved coach, someone who's not afraid to get their hands dirty.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. Think about accelerators, right? Their whole model is built around intensive coaching. And that community aspect in accelerators, incubators, it provides this crucial network for advice and support.
Especially helpful if you're new to the area or new to fundraising.
Definitely. Or just new to the whole entrepreneurial roller coaster. It smooths out a lot of those early bumps.
And this practical support, it can influence really core things like, say, hiring, which is so critical.
Hiring is a perfect example. Experienced VCs get the challenges founders face building a team, especially if their network is mostly people, well, like themselves.
Right. Limited perspectives, maybe.
Yeah. VCs can bring an objective eye, analyze the skills needed, help founders find those diamonds in the rough, not just people with standard resumes. I remember one founder saying, "I never hired experienced people, preferring folks with personality and common sense." VCs can help spot that potential.
So they help broaden the talent pool, find people outside the founder's immediate circle, build a more diverse, maybe more agile team.
Exactly. But you raised a good point implicitly there. Does it get intrusive?
Yeah. Does the founder lose control over day-to-day stuff?
It's a dynamic that needs managing, for sure. It requires really good communication, trust. A good VC knows they're a guide, not a dictator. But on the flip side, they also really emphasize capital efficiency.
Meaning don't waste money.
Pretty much. They often like the idea of bootstrapping, initially getting cash flow without outside money, because it forces you to be resourceful. Find problems early. Even with VC money, they stress keeping a low burn rate until you've really nailed product market fit. It's about building a big company that matters, sustainably.
Smart growth, not just fast growth at any cost.
Precisely.
Okay, so beyond the money, beyond the operational advice, there's this other huge piece, the network. VCs seem to unlock doors that would otherwise stay shut.
Oh, absolutely crucial. And maybe sometimes understated. Think about those accelerators and incubators again, often tied into VC networks. They bring the broader base of the program's contacts to bear. What does that mean?
Introductions.
Yeah, valuable introductions
Yeah.
to potential strategic partners, maybe key early customers who become references, or even critically to later stage investors for the next funding rounds. For a young startup, that access can literally change everything.
So it's leveraging their Rolodex, basically. Their established connections, fast-tracking access that might take a founder years to build alone.
Exactly. And it's not just random intros. Securing future funding rounds, that's vital. VCs don't just provide the current round, they actively help secure further rounds of financing.
Oh. By making direct intros to other VCs.
That's part of it, yeah. Introducing them to firms that fit the next stage, helping them prepare for a Series A or B pitch. That can be a real crunch point otherwise. They act as a bridge.
Okay, and then there's the credibility factor. That seems huge, too. Just being associated with a well-respected VC firm,
Yeah.
it's like a stamp of approval, isn't it?
It really is. And it raises the question, how does that investment signal credibility so strongly? Well, think about getting into a top accelerator program that becomes a badge, right?
Yeah, signals you passed a tough filter.
Exactly. Say it with a respected VC. Being backed by them tells everyone else, other investors, potential hires, partners, even customers, that your startup isn't just some random idea. It means you've been vetted rigorously by experts, and they see serious potential.
So it's not just what the VC does for you, but who they are in your corner. That badge of approval makes a massive difference in a crowded market.
Precisely. It's the signaling effect. That association grants immediate industry credibility. And that credibility is vital for attracting top talent plays. People want to join a winner. It helps forge alliances with bigger companies. It builds customer trust, which is hard for new companies.
That implicit validation, wow, it could be as valuable as the cash itself, maybe more so early on.
For many startups trying to get established, I'd argue it often is. It helps them stand out, prove their legitimacy.
So when you pull it all together, the venture capitalist's playbook is clearly far more complex than just writing checks. You've got strategic guidance, market smarts, hands-on operational help, powerful networks, that crucial credibility. VCs really aim to be deeply embedded partners.
Yeah, it moves way beyond just a transaction. It becomes a strategic alliance. And it's designed ultimately to maximize the odds of that home run outcome. It aligns the VC's need for high returns with the entrepreneur's vision for, massive growth and changing the game. It's a powerful partnership, even if it can be demanding sometimes.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Well, if you're thinking about seeking venture capital, or maybe you're just curious about how successful startups really get built, understanding this whole value proposition is absolutely key. It really brings up a critical question, doesn't it? As an entrepreneur, how do you not just take the capital, but actively cultivate and maximize all these other forms of value? The network, the advice, the credibility from your investors. How do you make that partnership work best for your venture?